27.
It is very nippy out here.
It's cold. Everybody's... Yeah, I got a lot of ice in the water bowls to deal with. Everybody's here. Stripe's up in the woods. Tux is on the platform. He decided to sleep in the doghouse last night, and there is a heating pad inside there too, so that's good. So I'm off downtown with Johnny and Jules, and Dawn's off in Ruby to Tesla service to get the camera alignment issue looked at. Hopefully it'll work out okay. The "you don't have as much regenerative braking as you think you do" message is a little scarier than it used to be. At least they put the okay to drive. It says limited deceleration when accelerator is released. Okay to drive, use brake pedal as needed. Thanks for the reminder, Jules. I guess that's because she sat out a little bit before I got in this morning. I am on autopilot this morning. I'm curious to see how the car handles the new traffic pattern. FSD beta autopilot was never quite adapted to taking the construction loop. Did pretty good, not perfect though. Traffic's moving along pretty good. Jules says 7:25 a.m. so we can certainly work with that. Dawn should be getting ready to pull out with Ruby now. The service appointment was for 7:45 a.m. He is going to go in and try to talk with them a little bit. You know, if it's just a camera alignment, best thing for us is, yeah, we'll pull her back now, check that out, and let her go. But I know that's a long shot. Will service be less busy this week because of the holiday, or more busy? Jules should be able to handle this nice, straight, freshly painted lines here on the new asphalt. Although there's a possibility she'll still try to brake because of the old stoplight, but maybe she's gotten rid of that and also doesn't see any stoplight, so. They are out here working. I think she tried to tell me I didn't tug on the wheel enough. I think Jules is more sensitive about playing with the wheel than Ruby. Alright, well, she didn't have any issues going through there. She shouldn't have. Either Ruby doesn't do this, or I'm not an autopilot at this point typically. It's very possible I haven't re-engaged it coming out of the turnpike construction yet. But the arrow to my right here on the asphalt for the turn lane is forward and right turning, because it gets you up to the intersection where you can make a right. And anyway, it's happened to Dawn before. Jules is like, well, there's a whole open lane over there. Let's get out of this lane and let's get in that lane. And that obviously is not cool. See, she thinks it's just a usable lane. She doesn't understand that it's basically, if you get out of this line, you ain't getting back in. So I jerked the wheel and took control so she wouldn't get me in the wrong lane. I mean, she signaled and everything and was going to be safe about it, but it wasn't going to be a good outcome for going straight. Sunny and 30. I got out of autopilot at the 401/70 merge. And, you know, Jules kind of feels differently about how we should navigate through town than how I want to go. So I'm not inspired to get back in autopilot right now. I still have not tried to come across downtown with Ruby with the beta. So I really do need to give it a try. I'm not quite over the initial experience with Zeb and Kyle. Back a couple years ago. That was a hoot. It's going on 7:30 and I'll be back over here at 9 to grab Johnny. Well, I'll have Dawn done too. He's just got AP stats this morning. college classes are done until after Christmas, and then it'll be a new set of classes and a new schedule. So we don't know what that is yet for sure. Well, I'm here at Tesla and I don't see cars parked out on the grass, so that's a good sign, but there's not a lot of parking spaces. I don't know if Don just pulled in or not. Instructions were to park anywhere and let them know where you parked. And not park in front of the door or the building. You know, basically don't block the building. Well, there are a couple spaces, so we'll see. I'm sure Don will figure it out. All right, that's Ruby. I can tell because the tires have the red T sticker in the center of them, the wheels. I'm just gonna pull in here and wait for Don to come out, because like I said, he was gonna go inside and talk to him. So you went inside and talked to him?
Yeah, the service advisor, Valerie was her name. She was very kind, very polite. She let me know that I couldn't find the check in my car or something on the service. I was like, and so I said, when I first walked in, I said, look, my car's here, but I can't find the check-in or approve invoice or whatever. And she says, oh no, we knew when you we have it geo-fenced, and when you drove into the thing, we checked you in automatically. You already checked in. And well, I said, well, that's cool. So I didn't know they did that, but it makes perfect sense. And then we talked about the problem. I said, you know, this is like the 4th time we brought it up here for this cam-related things. That's, you know, basically the problems all started when they upgraded the cameras for the new cameras for the older cars, and we've just had various different problems. I said the problem's occurring right now, today on its way in. It was failing, so that's a good thing. And then the other thing I said is it hasn't varied this time. We've had a lot. Sometimes we get 2 or 3 different. We've gotten multiple messages over the time, but this time it's consistent, this alignment thing. And so she pulled up the problem ticket. She says, yes, we see all this. I see that you've brought it in before and all this stuff. And fast forward, she said they're going to, of course, do the camera alignment. But they're also going to replace the forward pilot camera. Now, I don't know what that really means, but they are actually going to replace the camera. And she said our due date's our time estimate 6:15 tonight. So that means they have the part. So hopefully they're not going to pop up and says, oh, well, you know, somebody must have looked at the ticket this morning, because I didn't see any of that in the ticket, and that all sounded like, so let me rephrase that. Somebody must have looked at the ticket, and she did say they will do the diagnostic logs again, and maybe something else is in there. So she said all the right things, but you know, you have no idea what's going to actually happen. Well, the proof's going to be in the pudding. Like Marianne said, last time it lasted about a day, and then the message popped up. This time, you know, give it a week. If we do get to pick it up today, which let's fingers crossed that happens, and the problem is fixed, let's say, or appears to be fixed, you know, after a week, if it's still working, then maybe we'll consider it fixed. But of course, they'll close the problem ticket as soon as we drive out and pick up the car.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, all I said was a day's not enough to know any longer if things are good. I would have to do multiple drives over several days. A week would be nice, and then I'll call her good, or we still have a problem. Hopefully it'll be good.
Right. And she said, you know, it's not under warranty. I said, well, that's true, but the camera upgrade is, because all these problems started when the camera upgrade.
Well, and the last service advisor told you parts are covered for a year.
That's right.
So if this part has failed, it's not been a year.
Right. So we may get some kind of a labor charge, but
you didn't have to approve an estimate?
Nope.
Okay.
Because there was no, that's what I said. See, I'm not in the app every day, and certainly not for service. And so,
or Ruby.
Oh, and we did get a $100 credit. And there was an Uber driver there waiting to, if I wanted to take an Uber.
He was waiting, huh?
He was waiting. Because I guess, so I'm just going, that thing about no alternate transportation message.
Well, it said unless your service qualifies, but there were no details on what would qualify or wouldn't qualify.
But I would think an Uber guy would be waiting here in the parking lot because he knows he's going to get a ride out of here first thing in the morning.
Right.
And I did think the gentleman, because he asked me, did I need an Uber? And I said, no, not this time, but thank you for, let me know. And he was in his car, and I was walking by when he came by.
He didn't happen to be a Tesla driver, did he?
No, he was driving something or another.
Yeah.
But I got one of only 2 parking places. I got one of them. And
I saw where Ruby's about where she was the last time we picked her up.
Right, and I drove up, down, and when I saw actually there were 2 parking lots. The first one I said, well, that's just a little skinny. Let me just, there's nobody else here. I'll be really quick about doing another loop in case. But then I came up with that one I parked her in, and it's pretty wide. It was, the cars were well parked, so she should be fine.
All right, well, we'll hope for the best. We're headed back towards St. Aug. We'll have to park and wait a little bit before Johnny's class will be over.
Yeah, the sun was really wonderful this morning, and it was like tearing my eyeballs up coming down Glen Avenue, Glenwood here.
Don and I were puzzled about this car, but it is an e-tron.
Well, I thought it was electric because of the light bar. See how the light bar is? They don't tend to haven't been putting that on gas cars.
Well, and all the new cars seem to have a light bar like that.
Okay, all right. And
it's kind of a 2022, 2023 thing.
Yeah, and then I said, Audi is very stylized with their exhaust tips.
Yeah, that's the way Dodd said it.
Oops, basically turn.
That's all right. You just like it to follow the other EV.
Yeah. Anyway,
it says Quattro on the right, e-tron on the left, and Quattro on the right.
200 feet. I can't turn there. Oh, I guess I could.
It's okay.
Well, it says no. Well, it's no left turn during certain times.
Right. We're just headed closer into downtown. You'll get a chance to get over. What Don was trying to say on the Audi is if you can't see the tailpipe, then it's electric, because the tailpipes are prominently styled on the ICE cars, and we definitely were following it long enough we couldn't see a tailpipe. So what are they doing to the earth? Oh, I guess they're working on the building beside the earth. Been a while since I drove past the Daily Planet. The Museum of Natural Sciences is what that building is. This is the older part of the museum and the dinosaurs. Whether flying ones, Triceratops.
That's the new capitol.
Yep. Legislature. It's in there. I've been inside it. Stood in the galley. And this is the Special State Records Library over here. We're just a few miles west of the school. This is the governor's mansion. Here on the left, the big brick building. We've toured it a couple times in the past. At the holidays, they have an open house. That's kind of fun. It's a free, fun event to do if you've not ever done it. It's certainly worth going in there, checking it out. I think we toured it one time when McCrory was governor and one time when Cooper was governor.
Yep, I agree. Wow, look at the line of cars. This is northbound 401 at Wake Tech, where the new opening, apparently they've closed one lane of the new road even, so they're certainly closing one lane on southbound. We just were past the truck that was putting out the cones.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if she'll get in the turn lane and make the left turn up here okay.
Oh, wow.
Feeling brave this morning.
Well, let's see. The car in front of us already has this blinker on.
Yeah.
But not Joel's.
Won't.
There's the blinker.
Wow, okay.
That wasn't bad.
That wasn't too bad.
If you could just go a little bit further and get over just a little. There we go.
Yeah, let's straighten out so the other cars can get past us.
Yeah, the rear end. So now you see the tailpipes on that CRV is spitting water. That's what I was saying on that e-tron this morning. That's how I recognized it was an e-tron, because it didn't have any.
Oh, God.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do the accelerator. Go, 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 Jules, go, go, go. Turn the damn car. Go, get me out of there.
Well, you had the flashing yellow. It was legal for you to do that.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, I was put my firmly on. Get over now.
Yeah.
Will you please get it over? She still isn't getting over. Get over. Okay, I got to take control. She just would not get over.
No, she doesn't. Yeah.
And there was, to be clear, there was nobody behind me.
That's right.
All right, this is why I don't come through town with it and use it on the highway only.
Well,
I thought I'd try it today.
Poor kitten. They got her stress level up.
Well, when you turn on the turn signal and there's nobody behind you, you know, or in the lane beside you, expect the car to move, move.
Yeah.
I get it if there's vehicles nearby and you got to think about it, but that whole thing back there doesn't work right. It just coming and going. She just doesn't handle coming around, making a turn when you have access to either lane. She inevitably does not choose the one she should choose.
Yeah, well,
I want her to make my driving easier, not harder. But even then when I put the turn signal on, she still didn't.
yeah, well, that's one of the things I've noticed is our wonder. So they've got all these cameras, these 8 cameras, and they're processing 30 frames a second and all this stuff. So how come when you want to get over or turn the turn signal on, it's like she thinks about it for a little while and then she turns on the turn signal, maybe or and then she thinks, but it's like, well, if you're really processing all these cameras all the time, 30 frames a second, you already know the lane's clear. So when the operator tells you to turns on the turn signal, you ought to just start moving, you know, blink once or twice and move over. There should be none of this, oh, I'm going to think about it a little bit more. Like there was no reason, so why didn't he get over? I've seen it do that a dozen times. It just, no, I'm going to stay in this lane.
Yeah, well, I've seen brilliant movements in a split second. It's so fast it makes you think twice. And then I've seen those like the back there where she just flat out won't move, and mostly it's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Slightly slower than you think it should be, but
yeah,
but moving at least.
Right, but like I said, I'm skeptical that it's because, well, she doesn't know if that lane's clear or not. Somebody's lying if it either is processing all 8 cameras or it's just looking out the front trying to worry about the front. I don't know.
What you gonna do, Jules?
She
ran that light, baby. Well, I guess technically it was still yellow, but
I'm gonna say she didn't run it, but that was the edge of the limit.
That was really cool. I thought for sure she was gonna brake.
Yeah, that was the edge of the.
And the other thing is too, is I know it's not really cool to speed up to make the yellow light, but for God's sakes, a couple mile an hour really wouldn't kill us.
Yeah, well, that would have at least let us know that she
floor it through the intersection, but just a couple miles an hour more, just to, you know.
Well, also
take away any thought of doubt.
Yeah, and also I would say if she would have at least sped up a little bit, that feedback to you as the pilot of the car monitor, it would have given you the, oh, she did see it and she's made the decision to go through the light, because
right, I had no idea still because the speed was so,
she was so oblivious to it. It was just, you know, yeah. So
even keel, monotone, not moving, not wavering any.
Yeah, and yet she'll almost put you through the windshield whenever a car crosses in the intersection, like, you know, 500 yards in front of you, and then she'll brake check you on that. So I don't exactly understand why she won't at least brake check you on a yellow light.
All right, let's see what she does here.
Oh, it's a piece of cake.
Yeah, this one, she's been handling this okay.
Piece of cake.
That was okay.
The sun's so bad today.
Yeah.
I gave up on my screen on my WebEx on my phone because every time the sun came out.
The guy behind me is not too close, but it'd be nice if she put her signal on. There's nobody here to have to steer near.
Wow.
Over the yellow line.
Yeah.
consistently on that turn. I guess she just doesn't know, she needs to slow down.
Well, the speed was okay. It's just she needs to turn quicker. Maybe if they would paint a nice white line there. Yeah, I noticed those rocks. But better to get across there before the cars threw a rock back at you.
Yeah. So far, so good. And making it through this turn is all about where you meet, because there she's over the yellow line.
What? She's not beeping. Every time I so much as get near the yellow line.
Well, you know, Jules is a lot more vocal about crossing the line than Ruby, and we really need to sync up the profiles, because she about scared me and Johnny our skid this morning. I'm like, oh, Johnny's like, what's wrong? It's like, well, I went over the line a little bit, and Jules really cares. Ruby's a lot quiet. Ruby may alert, but not to the extent that Jules does. Jules is just like, it's like getting told off by your mama first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
All right, the truck behind me is not happy, but that's okay. He can be not happy because I am doing the speed limit. Yeah. No cars coming. So she's there. Mr. Truck Driver behind me, you got your first self-driving car turning left in front of you. It was very jerky to my hands on the wheel going through the corner there.
Yeah, it was a little.
Now look, Jules, there's no leaves up here to confuse you.
Yeah,
is a shadow though. I mean, she almost ran into the street pole the other day, the street sign name. Yeah. Come on. Oh, just barely, but not smoothly.
She used all the road.
All right, no, you cannot take the driveway.
Okay.
No. So we're having an afternoon special meal today because Sam's here and I got a good deal on this piece of prime rib. I'm doing the 5 minutes a pound at 500 and sit for 2 hours. I've got to double check the 5 minutes and the 500, but basically the oven's got to preheat for 30 minutes because most of the cooking is done just from the heat of the oven after you turn it off. All right, Starbucks ain't got nothing on me. Sam and I have been hanging out. I'm just making one side dish and crescent rolls and some sauces, a ranch and a horseradish cream thing. This is the broccoli, sausage, cheese, egg casserole. And I'm fixing to cook it, and the meat should time up within 10 minutes of each other at least.
So this is my afternoon snack?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, single serving? Yeah.
Single serving.
Yeah, that's right.
That's my plate, baby. I'm taking Sam home. We were all a bit food comatose after we finished that wonderful meal. Sam helped me pick out minifigures for the church. Oh, there's a piece of farm equipment up here. I mean, a really wide piece of farm equipment. Anyway, I've got minifigures ready to go in, and that's, you know, we just hung out, played with kitties, saw kitties. It looks like Ruby's done, but no, come and pick her up, and Dawn's not with me. I'll have to go home, and then we'll have to drive back to Raleigh. Sam's house and Tesla aren't exactly in the same direction, but it would have been convenient had we known in advance. Before I came through the turnpike construction area, I did check to make sure, number one, Jules, wasn't trying to route me somewhere else, and two, that it didn't look very congested on the map, and it didn't. So obviously they're still doing quite a bit of stuff up here right now, but it's not closed. It's not backed up too bad. They're still shooting for the 22nd tomorrow to switch over the other lane to use the other side, so we'll see. We are headed downtown. Johnny tells me every day between now and the 14th for at least AP stats, but probably picking him up around noon. We'll see. It's a little bit TBD, and we can play different days. It sounds like there's some stuff to do in the morning and he can hang out for lunch with his friends, and they really kind of need to keep him there half a day because otherwise it's not really a Wake County school day. Well, I got through the turnpike okay, but now there's an accident here. Just coming into town by the ABC store. It's always something. I got left thinking this lane was moving okay and just the right lane was closed. I should have stayed right and gone through the apartment complex. Oh well. It is moving, it's just slow. I hope no one was hurt. It's 5 p.m. You gotta hate this early dark. So the app was updated to say that Ruby's ready for pickup. I had actually messaged them to ask, obviously, before I headed to Garner, and the answer implied that they hadn't even read my question. I don't know. It doesn't matter. She's ready. There's no charge. Don and I have time to go get her and get back before Taekwondo. Johnny doesn't usually do Taekwondo on Mondays, but they're only open Monday and Tuesday this week, and he might go tonight. I need to talk to him and firm it up. Anyway, if we leave now, we can get back in time to take him because, you know, rest is so highly overrated today. Well, hello, guys. I'm not going to come too close. I'm not. So Don and I are in Jules to go pick up Ruby. It's going to be really close on if we have enough time to get home to take Johnny to Taekwondo. So we're really hopeful that the problem is really resolved this time because they did find something that was wrong and they know that they fixed it. And so I have real hope that it's really fixed this time. And I'm going to share with you with as much kindness as I'm capable of at the moment.
She was spitting a minute ago.
Well, what they found. Confirmed owner concern, and during diagnosis, technician found that 2 screws were missing for the triple camera pitch. So that's the front autopilot housing cameras. This caused the triple camera to bounce around during physical check. Installed missing hardware to fully secure triple camera pitch and performed forward-facing camera pitch verification. Triple camera is in specification of pitch verification. Double check triple camera part number. The triple camera part number is correct. And then they gave me instructions about how to properly allow the car to calibrate the cameras because I've never calibrated the cameras before.
Well, like I told Mary Ann, though, they were actually giving me instructions because everything's Mr. Miller.
Right.
Don
Even
Miller.
when I overwrite my email and telephone number, they totally lose me and assume it's Dawn, and that also gets me a little riled up. I'm not much of a feminist, but that really does sort of cause me, well, they won't let you override the name, but even still, I find that even if you override the email and phone number, that it doesn't really take the update. It just goes to the account default. So anyway, and that's because we go back so far that you could only have one person on the account. Now you can authorize drivers and do a whole bunch of other stuff that you used to couldn't do. But I just have Don's Tesla password, and at this point he ain't getting it back. No, I mean, I'm not switching to my own thing. So
I don't mess with my Tesla
yeah,
stuff.
you keep out of my Tesla account just because it's in your name. Yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher how 2 screws could be missing, and I got to go back and actually count the number of times Ruby was up there. But this whole debacle started in April, so it's been going on for a while, and we did get them at one point to tell us a 1-year warranty on the camera parts. So even if one of these cameras was found to be defective, it should be warranted for a year. But Don hasn't been in the autopilot camera housing doing anything. Whatever it was up there is how they left it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's let's just pray it's really fixed. I'm just let it go. I'm gonna let it go. I am. I just wish the words we were devastated to find this error, and we're really sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you for letting us have the opportunity to work on your car again.
Yeah.
I think those words would have gone a long way, besides the we didn't charge you anything.
Yeah.
Appreciated that I didn't have to go talk to anyone about that. That was just waived, handled, which it should have been. But you know, sometimes the sorry. I mean, I would have been so humble and apologizing if I had done that to my IBM customer. I mean, I made mistakes in 23 years of service, and I'm sorry, and I apologize, and you know, we are just, you know, so sorry to have caused you that problem. Those words have come out of my mouth many a time. I'm not perfect. I don't expect them to be perfect either, but
yeah, well,
I'm sure that was somebody yelled at somebody in there today.
As a guy, when I was a customer engineer with IBM, when I started my hardware career back in the 70s, I basically learned a quote, a good customer engineer can fix more than he can tear up. Because let me tell you, I have screwed up stuff before, and thankfully I've always been able to fix my messes, because I've made more than one.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure y'all are pulling that this is the last we'll ever be reporting about problems with Ruby's autopilot cameras.
Yeah,
please.
we're all ready for the new FSD.
That's right. We ought to
right.
get 11, and I ought to be able to use 11. To see, you know, I'm going to sing a happy song when the calibration completes again. Yeah, Don's like, look at the traffic. And I'm like, yeah, I understand it's rush hour. Thank God we're taking the toll road.
Yep.
We're going to get to Tesla at 30%. What's it say the round trip is? 18%. Okay.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Not even close.
It would, the right thing to do to just spend 10 seconds making sure. Yeah, there's no way to know if the person or persons that worked on Ruby today had previously worked on Ruby or not. And I really appreciate that they found and fixed a real problem, giving me hope that Ruby is really fixed this time. And yeah, I am appreciative of that. And I also appreciate the honesty and explanation as to what was wrong. Instead of, yeah, we found a problem with the cameras, it's fixed now. I do appreciate that they were willing to share the detail behind it. So now that I've had another 15 minutes to sit here and kind of digest the update.
Yeah, plus the guy said he verified the part numbers, that the right part numbers are in there now.
Yeah.
That was worthwhile knowing.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to drive Ruby home. Don is headed to take Johnny to Taekwondo. He'll just be faster than me, and 5 minutes is really going to matter at this point. The guy gave me a look, but I'm sorry, this is where they left Ruby. Okay, I'm fixing to move Ruby.
I don't bust your balls all the time.
Calibration is complete. Yeah, I got the calibration is complete message just a few minutes into my drive home. I wondered if it would finish calibration in the dark. No real reason it shouldn't. I was just curious. I'm on the turnpike, so clearly the lanes are marked well. Well, Don and I both got held up in that accident. Jules is currently on South Main Street, and so am I. So they've either just turned on to Judd Parkway, or I'm going to pass them here. I would say they had just turned on to Judd Parkway, although I did not see Jules's brake lights. But the only part of South Main Street they would have been on was between the community center and the stop sign up here, so I must have just missed them by a couple seconds.